Down to business.
That's the nectar of the gods, baby.
Oh my goodness, I guess it would be great if I unmuted myself. Hello everyone and welcome to the most electrifying, liquid-fueled, liquid-lubricated show on the interwebs. This is the Whiskey Musings broadcast. I am your subservient host, Rick. And by subservient, I mean thank you very much for everyone who has subscribed to come and watch the Whiskey Musings broadcast. I appreciate every single one of you. And, you could do me a little bit of a help here too. You could make sure that if you like the program and you subscribe to it, pass the word around. Help to spread the word, because the only way that I really advertise, honestly, other than social media, is by you, my viewers, who have joined the program, the most intelligent and, dare I say, the most awesome audience there is, bar none. Well, tonight I have kind of stepped away from my typical drink, and tonight I'm actually, styling and profiling here in the Whiskey Musings mug. But inside here, I actually have a version of the Hot Toddy. Now, the Hot Toddy is a whiskey drink. It can be made in a bunch of different ways. This particular one here, I actually have hot water with some honey and a cinnamon stick in it, with some Jim Beam bourbon. And then, of course, you heat it up. Now, I've done variations where I've used tea, and I've used tea, honey, and like a peppermint stick, like a candy cane. I've used that in the past. So this was just a slight variation. I couldn't find any actual tea, and you can't use like a lemon or like, not like a lemon, but like the flavored teas. Because otherwise it clashes with the flavor of either the whiskey or either the bourbon, or whatever it is that you put into the drink. So, unless you're really looking forward to putting in, some kind of a flavoring to it, you could do like an apple spice. You could use apple cider, as an example. You could do apple cider with some whiskey, and that would taste essentially like the apple flavored or apple cinnamon, flavored, Jim Beam and stuff that I've seen around. I personally am not really interested necessarily in those, but then again, I'm always open for new ideas and new things. So anyway, but to get back to the logo, okay, don't forget, I am running a sale, free shipping on any product that you buy at the Whiskey Musings logo gear store, all the way up until Christmas, December 25th. In fact, that is the code, the promo code to get it put in. The promo code is Christmas. Go ahead and put that in at checkout, and you'll get your free shipping. Be out there, get in your stylish gear. I know a few people have gone and purchased over the course of the last couple of weeks. And by the way, if you want to, you can take a photo of yourself in the Whiskey Musings logo gear, or holding the Whiskey Musings logo gear, and post it on you should be able to post it on the Facebook page. Or if you can't, you can go ahead and send it to me, and then I'll go ahead and put it up for you. All right. So much for the self-promotion. Now, excuse me. It's one of the few hot drinks that I actually like. There's a couple others, but that one's, hot one. Anyway, oh yeah, hot apple cider buttered whiskey. Wow, that's like a mouthful. Hot apple cider buttered whiskey. Okay. I bet it tastes good too in your mouth, doesn't it? All right. So what if these are two little words that are incredibly incredibly powerful. They can do all kinds of things. What if they have a wealth of possibilities? They can be positive, they can be negative, they can do all kinds of things for you. What if? You know, my mom actually had a little thing that she would do with us, and it was called the What If game. And realistically, it's basically asking the question, what if? And you could apply it in all kinds of scenarios, all kinds of places, everywhere that you really, really want to try and be. You can apply the words what if. And here's a little example of what I'm talking about. So you're driving down the road, you're on the highway, and you're going along, you're kind of in traffic, you're paying attention to what's going on. But in order to prepare for what comes next, you could play the what if game in your mind. You could say to yourself, what if this person, or use whatever expletive you want, decides to change lanes without looking over their shoulder? Or what if traffic just all of a sudden comes to a stop? And see, the power of those two little words causes your mind to open up and start thinking about different scenarios, different aspects of what's going on. You could say, what if that car in front of me stops on a dime? And you start thinking, okay, point number one, is there anybody next to me in the left lane, right lane, whatever lane? Is there anybody behind me? Do I have enough room to stop? Am I far? Am I too close? Am I too far? Can I slide into another lane? If I'm on the side with the shoulder, can I go to the shoulder? Because the shoulder might be too soft. Is it too soft? I don't know. Where can I go if this guy has to stop fast in front of me? What if he's bigger than you? Do you have a smaller car? What if all of these different things can run through your mind, and you can play this game and prepare yourself for the possible eventuality that something like that can happen. And by doing that, it's amazing to see how, because you've already gone through all of the different choices in your mind, you'd be surprised at how your mind can actually trick itself into thinking, okay, and I've already gone through everything. The most acceptable solution is whatever it is, whatever is going to happen. Your mind's already gone through all of that. And so if you start to train yourself that way, you'll find that you no longer have to prepare yourself. And one of my favorite expressions is chance favors the prepared mind. And if you think about that, the term what if is your mind preparing, going through and finding all the different ways, well, no matter what the situation is, all the different ways that things could go. Now, I don't recommend you necessarily do this and get distracted while you're driving. Of course not. You really shouldn't pay attention to the road and that kind of stuff. However, that being said, as a part of the defensive driving techniques that they teach you in classes, is you need to be aware of your surroundings, aware of what you can do. And so incorporating the question, what if, is exemplary to be able to figure out what you're going to do next. What if? And we can use what if and the whole what if game to do all kinds of different things. I mean, we can sit here and we can use it as an escape. I mean, Hollywood's been using the idea of what if to make movies. An example, what if we weren't just human and we had things called metahumans, if you're in the DC world, or superheroes, if you're in the Marvel world. And you're like, what if? And then all of a sudden, all of these different things come into play. And you start to realize that what if becomes a hugely broad subject. I mean, Stan Lee decided to ask the question, what if? when he created all of his characters? What if radioactive spiders existed? He created Spider-Man. What if you had other villains? Not even, I mean, you can go at it from the good side. You can go at it from the bad side. You can do all of this from the standpoint of using just the question of what if? And it's amazing, you know, to use this terminology in order to think along the lines of what if some of the things that we can do? Like, here's an example. What if tomorrow every single one of you watching this particular broadcast was able to get at least 2 people to subscribe to? Guess what? My what if is, wow, all of a sudden I've got a bunch of subscribers. Or what if I didn't do this show anymore? What would happen? So the term what if and the possibility that's beyond it is just, it's mind-boggling, because you can go so many places with what if. One thing that I do is I'll admit I join in on some of the lottery games, okay, at occasion. And the reason that I do it is purely for entertainment purposes. I mean, because the chances of me actually winning the lottery is probably not that great. In fact, I think at one point somebody broke it down and said that you had a better chance of being struck by lightning, I think, twice in your lifetime. But still, the point is, it's a small amount of entertainment that I get. It's not, entertainment in the form of a video game or something along those lines. What it is entertainment within my own mind to say, what if? And here in the state of Washington, they did it with the lotto. They did, what if? And they had people, they told people, and I think the campaign is still on, but they told people, hey, write in all your ideas. And they came up with this, one lady came up with this whole idea of filling up a pool with ranch dip and going swimming in it. Another person, I think, did the same thing with like Jell-O or whatever. Somebody else, I can't recall, but I think somebody else said they would buy a whole ski resort or something like that. So what if you had no worries about money at all? What would you do? And in that particular scenario, I think a bunch of us, we would think, oh, well, I'd do the obvious. I would buy a huge house. I'd buy cars. I'd buy all this stuff. I'd make sure that, my friends and family were all taken care of. And these are all noble causes. But what if you only had a finite amount of money? What would you do then? See, we can use the term what if for a lot of different things. And we have what if as also a potential for, again, even negative things. Sometimes I go through and I'll think about the term what if, and it may seem a little weird. In fact, it probably is weird because that's just the way that I am. But I sometimes use the term what if to think about different things, not only within my life, but different scenarios. Like, unfortunately, we do live in a somewhat dangerous world. And so there are times, not just in driving as an example, but there are times and places sometimes that you can be caught unprepared. For an example, what if you had an active shooter scenario? What if you went into the doctor and you were given a bad diagnosis of something? And sometimes using the what if, even in a negative fashion, can again help your prepared mind, because you've already kind of thought through some of that. So using the terminology of what if, most people apply it in a way where it's a positive effect. But you can also apply it in terms of things that aren't quite as good. Things where you might be able to think your way through and figure out how to survive situations that you may or may not be completely prepared for. You know, what if the internet disappeared? What if we had a problem with our electrical grid? And it's questions like what if that can get you thinking and start you down the road to prepare. Because if you can walk down the road on whatever that situation is, whether it's good or whether it's bad, if you can walk down the different paths that you can find, that you can think of, you can figure out different avenues and different ways, different things, to be able to be prepared for the stuff that's there. Another key phrase that I like is failure to plan is planning to fail. And so whenever I go out and I do a job, I go through my head and I try to prepare for and plan for the potential eventualities that can occur. And so again, I go through and I play the what if game. And I say, what if I need to do X, whatever X is in my job? What if this happens and I'm not prepared for it? What can I do to resolve the situation? And somebody once told me at one point, they were like, well, you know, you don't seem to get very rattled. And, you know, I guess at first I probably should have been maybe a little taken aback by it. But to be honest, I wasn't rattled about it at all. But part of the reason for that is because of the fact that, again, I've spent a lot of my adult life using the what if game to go through scenarios. Now, I'm not going to say that playing what if is going to make it impervious or bulletproof, that you're going to be able to think up every single scenario, because you're not. You can't. In some cases, it is an infinite number of possibilities, and you can't necessarily plan for every single one. But if you can plan for as many eventualities as you possibly can, then that will assist you if you do run across one that you weren't prepared for. Because looking at something that you're not prepared for, there might be an aspect of it that you are prepared for, and so you don't have to fully prepare for the entire thing that's caught you off guard. You only have to prepare for the part that you haven't done preparation or planning for. What if? These are two little words that are just incredibly powerful. What if? And again, most people use them for the positive side. You know, what if I were better looking? What if I were more charismatic? What if I had a bigger capacity to love my wife? Anyway, what if? What if is just, it's incredible. And I actually encourage a lot of you that are out there right now, go through and do what if. Do what if. Take a few minutes to sit down and kind of think, what if? And especially in today's day and age, because believe it or not, you know, there are a lot of things that can happen. I mean, the government talks about preparing for, you know, you should have 30-day supply of food. Okay, that's great. So what if that big earthquake happens? Or what if there is a tidal wave or, natural disaster? We'll just lump them all together. Natural disaster of some kind. What if? Think about all the different things that could possibly happen with that. What if you're preparing for where are you going to get your water? What are you going to do for electricity? Do you even need electricity? What are you going to do for other types of food beyond the 30 days? What if? How about shelter? I mean, if we go through a big earthquake here in the Northwest, it's potential that your house could just totally be gone. It could be wrecked. It could fall. It could, completely crash. What if? And that's part of preparedness. Now, you don't even have to, this is not even, it costs nothing. It's free. You don't even have to necessarily use this as a tool, for money. You don't have to pay for this tool. This is something where you use your own imagination and you come up with what if scenarios. And you've got to walk down the path. What if? You can also use it like I was talking to you just a minute ago about the whole lottery scenario. So let me walk you through a little bit of my what ifs. Okay, so if I were to win the lottery, now a lot would depend on the actual amount, because obviously the amount of money that I'm going to get is going to be something different, and how I react to it is going to be different. Okay, so here in the state of Washington, you basically, and actually in most of the lottery games across the country, you have two options to it. You have the cash out option, and you have the take it for 20, 25 years, roughly. Depending upon the game, whichever one it is, it really, really changes in terms of that. Okay, now, I've actually already figured out that at a certain threshold, the return on investment for a smaller sum of money, let's say less than $5 million, it is better in my financial scenario in order to cash out that money and take the cash and invest it myself. And the reason for that is because of the fact that the amount of money that you would be getting over the course of, the 25 year lifespan is not as much per year. And so even though it's a smaller amount, for me, it wouldn't necessarily work. I could do more with a larger amount or a larger sum, lump sum, and invest it myself than what I could waiting for the lottery to pay for it, to pay it out. Okay. But if it's over that amount of money, if it's over 5 million, then it might be better in the long run for me to actually draw the money out of it. And these are considerations that you need to take, because on the off chance that you do actually win that lottery, first of all, you're probably going to faint. I know I probably will. I'll hit my head. Yeah, and I won't be thinking straight. That's for sure. Definitely won't be thinking straight. And so already planning for it ahead of time makes it a lot easier for me if the time does show up. Plus, I get a lot of fun thinking about what if and what I'm going to do with that money. Now, I will tell you this much. I have also gone through and said, let me sit down and calculate how much money do I actually think that I'm going to need in order to be able to retire completely debt-free with no issues. Now, I am not a financial genius, and I know there are a couple people who are watching, probably watching right now, who have gone through classes and everything else to figure all of this stuff out. And I could be way off base, totally off base on some of this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, in my particular scenario, I would need X amount and I would need that to go into some type of a security fund or some type of a long-term fund, maybe a money market or something like that, and earn back a certain percentage on what I feel that I would be able to live off of for the rest of my life without any worries. And so I've already kind of thought that through in my mind. How much would I need to do? And I've also anticipated how much the government would be taking in terms of taxes. So by playing the what if game, I won't be surprised by the tax guy who comes and says, hey, I need, 1/3 of this because you've won it and it's a big lump sum and so on and so forth. Or even, almost 1/2. Somewhere between 1/3 to 1/2 is probably going to go to the government for taxes. Now, in the case of like the lottery, I think the statistic is something like 70% of people who have won the lottery are broke within the first year. They spend it all. They get rid of all of it. And so, even without thinking, because the first thing that they think of is all of these things they're going to buy and all of these wonderful things and how much they can use the money. And then you have relatives and friends who come out of the woodwork and they want to borrow your money, and you're not a bank. You're not a bank. You have a windfall of cash, but you are not a bank. So unfortunately, as much as you want to go and help these people, you have to understand and learn to say the word no. And that's why what if can come into play. What if I don't have enough to be able to satisfy everybody? Who is it that I'm going to choose? Will I choose anyone? So one of my chatters here online, if you're not in the chat, I encourage you to go ahead and do it. He's basically said the first thing is to tell nobody. Well, that is true. I mean, one of the first things you definitely don't want to do is you don't want to tell anybody. Unfortunately, for some of the games, they do have to publicize your name at least. And I think in most cases, they also take a photo. That's why some of the winners have gone and actually collected or set up a trust specifically in order to go and get the money. So the money isn't theirs. It actually belongs to the trust. And the trust then is the one that has to dole it out. Now, I don't know all the legal ramifications with that, but you're right. The first thing you don't want to do is you don't want to spread it from the mountaintops and say, hey, I won the lottery. But there is a certain amount of people that you probably would want to tell. I mean, you're definitely going to want to tell your wife, because your wife's going to wonder why you just fainted. Kids, maybe, if you have kids, them too, possibly. I mean, anybody that's obviously there when you check. Yeah, a trust. Yeah, create an LLC. And that's basically, I mean, you can do that. Create an LLC, a trust. I think LLCs can also work in trusts. I mean, I don't know all of the legal ramifications about it, but again, if you're thinking about something like this is what the what if game can do for you, because you can sit down and you can figure all of this stuff out. You can say, what if this were to happen? Then I need to go and do X, Y, Z. What if? And this is where these two words become extremely powerful. And you can take this wording of what if and turn it into whatever you want. I mean, I use the example of the lottery, but again, you kind of walk through the whole point of what if. Now, there is one recommendation that I did see. I was reading an article one time that again, the same one that talked about the percentage of people that end up in bankruptcy or broke within the first year. So one of the things that they recommend is that you do actually buy something for yourself, but you limit it to just one thing. And so by limiting it, you're actually helping yourself to keep from spending all of that cash right away. So now, knowing this, I can step forward and say, well, what is the one thing that I'm going to buy? And I'll be honest with you, I haven't quite figured that out yet, because some of it has to deal, of course, with how much money is there. But I do know that I would buy myself a gift. I would buy myself a congratulations gift, something that I've been wanting, something that maybe I didn't necessarily need, but it would be neat to have, or something cool. I know that my son would probably go out and buy a car, be the fastest car, red, whatever. I don't know. But the point is that you would buy yourself a gift. Now, you have to be cautious though. You should take that what if and go, all right, so I've bought the one gift. Now, what am I going to do with the rest of the money? Well, I know for me, I'm going to take and set a part of it aside. And that part that goes and gets set aside is going to be earmarked for a couple of different things. But that's up to you to decide. But you've got to play the what if game to try and figure that out. So what if? What if I all of a sudden became famous? I've seen so many different people that have gone out and have like become famous, and they get so frustrated with the paparazzi. Now, I don't necessarily blame them for doing that. I really don't, because the paparazzi are realistically, they're kind of like vultures. I mean, their whole game is to try and get a picture that, one, nobody else has, and two, puts that person, that celebrity, into a compromising position. And so what if that were to happen? Well, one thing that I try to keep in mind is that although I'm a celebrity at the time, I would still be a person. I would still be a human being. And although it would be difficult at best to try and maintain composure and patience for somebody who may have, gone and sorry, there's some movement in the background here, and it's causing some sounds. Anyway, so, as far as like being famous and everything, you need to understand that as a celebrity, you're going to gain all of this attention and attraction. The problem is that if you gain all of that attention and attraction, how do you handle it? And some people can't. Some people have a hard time with being a celebrity. I can imagine that I probably wouldn't necessarily be one of those people. But at the same time, I could also imagine being so overwhelmed, because I'm not the type of person who really stands out in the public life other than, for you folks. But I would, I honestly, I don't really know how that would necessarily happen. I would certainly hope that if I were to become famous and a celebrity, that I would at least try and hang on to my roots, that I would try and hang on to the person who I am today, the approachable person, the generally speaking, nice person, even keeled person. I would try to be that way. And you can hear some of these people that are out there, some of these celebrities that are out there, like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves lives in New York, and he is one of the most approachable people, as far as I know, from a celebrity standpoint. He is one of the most approachable people because of the fact he rides the subway every day. And you hear, well, maybe not every day, but he rides the subway, and you hear of people who have gone up to him and asked for his autograph. And he is very appreciative over the fact that not only are they asking, but also he's very open and honest, and he does all kinds of charity work and everything else. He has turned his celebrity status into a powerful positive, and he's kept himself real throughout his entire time. He is probably one of the most approachable celebrities, I think, out of everyone, and that I've heard and seen. And the guy he's incredible. I mean, I don't know how many times I've heard stories and I've read stories of him where he's just approached on the street. He lives in New York. He's just approached on the street. No big deal. And what's cool about it, though, is the fact that the people who have approached him, they realize that the man has places to go and things to do. I haven't heard of anyone who has like mobbed him or, tried to, garner his attention in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure that he probably has security. Maybe. I don't know. I can only relate some of the stories that are out there. But what if you became a celebrity? Would you respond like a Keanu Reeves? Or would you end up becoming, like so uppity that you couldn't be approached? I would like to think that I would be able to be approached. Money, fame, if it comes my way, I would like to think that I would keep myself grounded. Here's another example. Tommy Lee Jones. Most stars go and they buy these huge homes and they buy these houses and they have these huge places and they put up walls and so on and so forth. Tommy Lee Jones comes from Texas. He has a house in Texas, but his house, while it's a little bit larger than what normally might be there, let's say somewhere around a 2,500 to 3,000 square foot home, his house is a little bit larger than that. It's only about 4,000 to 5,000, if I remember correctly. But yet, it's not this huge, ostentatious house. It's practical. It fits within the environment where he lives. Now, the part that is ostentatious on him is his polo club that he has in Florida. That's where he puts all of his money, is down in the club, the polo club down in Florida. But the guy is supposed to be a nice, relatively nice guy, easygoing. Not Keanu Reeves easygoing, but definitely easygoing from that standpoint. And so I would hope that if I were to ever gain that kind of level of fame, that I would be approachable and nice about it. What if I all of a sudden lost a limb? And I know that's a little morbid and a little scary to think about. But you know what? In my mind, if you prepare yourself somewhat for it, now granted, I haven't lost one. I will never pray to God. I never do. But the whole point is that what if can be used as a powerful tool to prepare yourself for the good and the bad. What if I all of a sudden lost my hair? Well, I already shave it short. Well, I didn't earlier this year, but I definitely I'm sitting on it right now where it's shorter. And we've got the current pandemic where the particular virus has some semblance of what if in terms of you lose one of your two senses. We know that's capable. We know that it's there. But what if? If you really want to go down like a religious path, you could go with, what if the world were to end tomorrow? Would you have told everybody what you felt? Would you have been able to take care of your family? What if you were no longer here? Not the world, but just you. All of these things, these are two powerful words. When put together, they create a whole world of possibilities, positive and negative. I encourage you to use what if. See, now right now I'm actually thinking, what if all of you were to pass along the wondrous speakings of this program? Well, I would see the subscriber count go up, I hope. And I've actually I'm not going to lie to you, I've sat and thought about what if this channel blew up? What if I all of a sudden had thousands and hundreds of thousands of subscribers and started having, all kinds of, monetization, and I had sponsors and I had all this different stuff? Would I be prepared for it? Well, I would be if I sat down and said to myself, what if? All right, so I didn't start the phone program, so give me just a second. I'm going to pop that up here. Let's make sure that I don't have that one. So let me get this going before. What? Oh, goodness. Okay, give me just a second here, because really, this is crazy. I want to log in, please. Thank you. Here we go. All right. Give me just a second here. So play the thought of what if in your mind. What if? What if you were to call as soon as I got this going? What would you say? What do you think I would say? Play the thought, or play the conversation in your mind. What if? What if I asked you a certain question? What would your answer be? What if? All right. Get that going. Let's see if I can get this going. Because obviously I was not prepared, even though I've been trying to prepare myself for this. I didn't prepare well enough. So what if I didn't prepare myself well enough? Well, this is it right here. Okay. All right, so let me get the get this up. So there we go. So if anyone wants to call, let's go ahead. But let's approach another what if. So what if we all were able to get together again without masks? What if the pandemic and the virus just disappeared? What if? What would we do then? Do you think we've been conditioned enough to stay within our 6-foot distance that we still be that way? Or would you go around and hug everybody? What if we had a problem with the vaccine? Or what if the vaccine was absolutely perfect and it didn't have any side effects and everything else? Would you get it? What if you were handed a suitcase in the airport and asked to carry it on the plane? What if you found money floating down from the sky and it was there. It was like it just fell from the sky. What if? What would you do? Would you be honest? Would you take it back? See, we can go just about anywhere with the term, what if? Just about anywhere. And that's why those two words put together are so powerful. Because you can say, what if, and follow it up with just about anything. If you're in a positive mood, say, what if, and put something positive in there. Like, what if you lived in a world where there was no nighttime? That it was always sunshine. The weather never changed. It was always sunshine. Or better yet, what if you could control the weather? What would you get? What if we had the answer to the question, are we alone in the universe? What if you had something happen like Oh, I'm thinking of the movie, the John Travolta movie, where he had something happen in his brain and all of a sudden he could just think at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I can't remember what that movie's called. If anybody in the chat can help me out with that one, go for it. But it was a John Travolta movie. I do know that much. Had Forrest Whitaker in it as well. But what if you all of a sudden started to be able to understand other languages? What would you do with it? What if? Very, very powerful words. Very, very infinite number of places to go with it. And it's a great thing to do when you're sitting there and you're bored, or you have something where you just don't know what to do. Play What If. You know, another thing that I do is when I read a book. If I'm reading a book, I try to engage myself with the story because, you know, sometimes you just can't really get into a story. There are some writers out there where you can, but sometimes you have a difficult time doing so. And so one thing that I do is I say, what if I was the main character? Would I have done that? Would I have done what the main character is about to do? Or you can even do it with television shows. You could do the same thing. What if I were the main character of the show? What if I were the actor? I mean, what if is just, to me, it's an escape. It's a preparation tool. It's a way to move on throughout life and entertain yourself when nothing else is going on. I mean, shoot, you're sitting at the DMV. You're just sitting and watching TV or whatever, playing on your phone. What if you didn't have a phone? What if we didn't have television? What if we had the holotechs on Star Trek? What if? Oh, yes, the movie Phenomenon. I thought that's what it was. I kept thinking paranormal for some reason, and I knew that wasn't right. But that's why Phenomenon was escaping me. Thank you very much, Kirk. Thank you. So what if you all of a sudden had those powers? What if you were able to control the weather? What if you were as strong as Superman? What if? Powerful, couple of powerful words. And it's a very fun game, at least in my mind. It's fun to play because you can sometimes sit there and say, what if? If you're into people watching. What if is great if you like to watch people. I know some people that are out there. They like to go to the malls and they just sit down and they watch the people. And let me tell you, what if fits perfectly with that. Because you can sit there and you can say, what if that guy is actually a Russian spy? Or what if that woman is really here not to shop, but to do something else? Like, I don't know. What if that person was a famous person? What if? That's amazing. What if? Anyway, so do me a favor. If you like this episode and all of my other episodes, check them out on YouTube. Right here, you're watching right here, but also check them out on YouTube. Check out all my past episodes. Check out all my, hopefully my new episodes. Make sure you click the subscribe button and definitely click the little bell to get notifications when a new video is posted. I am working on something to also have my videos show up on Rumble. And that hasn't happened yet. They're still doing their thing in terms of processing. But Rumble will also be another option for you to watch videos as well. And so use your powers of mind control and take a few minutes and figure out, what if we were able to continue this broadcast forever. I would like that. I would like that. And I hope that you will join me in that too. So with that, I am going to bid adieu. Normally I do have a little bit of a joke here, but you know what? I honestly, I can't think of one. I really can't. At least not right now. And I didn't necessarily reach out and find one because I was so caught up in what if. What if I don't have a joke right now? Well, I'll tell you what happens. The show goes on. Thanks for joining, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I cannot forget, absolutely cannot forget. So next week, this is the first time that I've actually got the topic for next week already planned out. Next week, I have the wonderful, the fabulous, the amazing Captain Kirk Unicorn coming back to join me. We are going to go through several holiday drinks. We are going to try and help you figure out what you're going to drink during the holidays. And these are going to be recipes that, maybe we've grabbed them from the internet. I don't know, wherever they come from. But the point is that we're going to go through some of them. We're going to talk about them, and it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be one where it's fully setting up for parties, all of the parties that are coming up, and even the ones that even if you can't have a party right now because of the pandemic, do one on a Zoom call. Maybe make the drinks together with your loved ones, the ones that are old enough, of course. But hey, you know what? I've come to think about that. I might even throw in a few treats or a few drinks for the little ones. So make sure you tune in next week for that. As always, my special co-host Kirk is awesome. He is more than welcome here. And, sometimes I just don't know where the guy's going to come up with. He's going to come up with all kinds of stuff. He's just that kind of guy. So anyway, we'll see you next time on the Whiskey Musings broadcast. Good night. Oops, where'd it go? There it is.